Hello everybody, welcome to the Geekdom. This is Lady Kaylah here, and I am going to review The Hobbit, An Unexpected Journey, because there are three movies. I have to differentiate between them. I decided not to start reading the books because I feel like that's unfair to compare them. I should probably do that in a separate video if I ever get in the mood. So I just want to keep this as clean as possible without involving the books so much. Good thing I haven't read the books in a long while. So before I get started, I mentioned this before, that The Hobbit is not Lord of the Rings. You can't go in expecting the same things that Lord of the Rings presented. The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings were written separately. They're separate stories, and while it was fun for Tolkien to connect the dots between The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings, it's still separate. It was just a fun little connection that Tolkien cleverly created. So it's definitely, geared towards children, a lot of fun, and more silly and taken less seriously than the Lord of the Rings is. So now that we got that established, I noticed that Gandalf is not the leader figure, he is the guide figure. So much like in Dante's Inferno, Virgil guided Dante through hell, that's the responsibility of Gandalf, and that is why he goes off by himself a lot. That's why he distances himself a lot. Because his job is not to solve everybody's problems, his job is not to save the day, his job is to set everybody up on the right track and keep them from straying and keep them from messing everything up. So he's the guide, but he's not the hero and he's not the leader figure. And his role is obviously very, very important, or else things would not be set in motion. So his job is just to guide, but not to exactly do. And yes, he does come in and it seems like he really saved the day, but you can see that he sets up situations and scenarios where they have to take care of themselves or figure something out and kind of learn something from what they've done. Even though he does end up on the surface, it looks like he saved the day. He, backed off enough for the company to figure something out and learn something and experience something that's very important to the growth of the company. Also, Thorin is the leader. He's the leader that, basically the whole story revolves around him because, he's the one trying to get his land back. They even included this story with him and this pale orc, and so he's kind of just the situation, and the whole story kind of just revolves around him, and he's my favorite. And I was so excited. It was weird because as soon as I saw Thorin, I watched the trailer and he did some epic turn, and I was like, love at first sight. It was really love at first sight. So I found out he's played by Richard Armitage. I don't know how to say his last name. And that is the guy Gisborne from BBC's Robin Hood. And I loved him in Robin Hood, and I was like, no wonder it was love at first sight. So sorry, I know that's not part of the review, but I just wanted to note that. So Thorin's my crush. So he is the leader, so obviously he makes the calls and he figures things out. And then the hero would actually be Bilbo. And while he is not your typical knight in shining armor hero, he is the hero. You would think maybe it would be Thorin, maybe it would be Gandalf, but at least in my opinion, it's Bilbo, because he's the one who is the main character. He's the one that is thrust in all these situations, and he, for the most part, ends up solving a lot of the issues, and he ends up being a lot more helpful than what people have expected of him. And also it is his story, it is his journey. And so another great thing about The Hobbit is the lore, how they connect things together. So a lot of stuff is like brought back from like Lord of the Rings, like to explain what happened in Lord of the Rings, or kind of show you the origin of what happened in Lord of the Rings. And even though Lord of the Rings is kind of like a separate story, obviously the creators of the movie want to bring back some of those Lord of the Ring aspects so that those who have watched Lord of the Rings can find some familiar characteristics inside The Hobbit. And that's really fun when you like spot them out and point it out and make the connections. Also, you know, it shows you why the dwarves hate the elves and the different cultural differences, anyways, the cultural differences between the elves and the dwarves, and you can even see the difference between the elves and the men, just culturally, and I really enjoy that. I didn't think how it started with the Bilbo telling you the story of the dwarves, I didn't think that was handled the best, but the rest of the lore I felt like was included and incorporated very nicely. There was a couple things that weren't explained, I think, very clearly, and one of them was the mountain pass. When they go through the mountain pass, they had like other options before they decided to go into the mountain pass, and when they go through the mountain pass, it's like hinted at that they had other options, yet we never got a scene that kind of showed that. And also it was, you know, hinted at that they knew the dangers of the mountain pass, but again, we didn't see a scene where that was discussed. And also, I think like the stone giants was a very, very nice scene. I really enjoyed the stone giant scene. It was just a geekgasm, basically, because just learning all these little bits and facts about different creatures of Middle-earth, the stone giants was really interesting. And I thought maybe like an extra 2 minutes to explain why they go through the mountain pass and the possibility and the dangers of the stone giants, or to kind of foreshadow those stone giants, would have been a really nice thing to do. So another thing that isn't really explained very well, at least I don't think it was the giant eagles and such, because, you know, they have come before in Lord of the Rings, and still we don't get a, like, why do they help Gandalf? Are they old friends? You know, why don't they just take them wherever they want to go? Why don't they just do this and that? And also they didn't show, I'm pretty sure in The Hobbit, which I can't say for sure because I haven't read in a while, Gandalf has a discussion with, like, the king of the birds, and, you know, a lot is explained in that. And so there was nothing like that at all to explain why these birds help Gandalf. Why don't they just take them around everywhere? And in the books, it's like explained that, you know, they're their own race of beings, and, you know, they'll help when it's convenient for them. Kind of like when the elves turned away from the dwarves, they realized it'd probably be more losses than anything else, so they made the decision to not help the dwarves, which was hard-hearted, but also convenient for them. So that's kind of how the birds are, and that's not really explained. So I feel like just, you know, just an extra 2 minutes, like, to explain some of these things would have been nice. So a lot of foreshadowing for, like, the necromancer and Sauron was explained, and Killy is a cutie too. Sorry, I just had to mention that. Killy is an absolute cutie, and he's a ranger, so it's like, ah. And then also, I love, like, watching the movie and, like, just making little notes of, like, how it's, like, how it applies to gaming, like D&D or Pathfinder. I play Pathfinder. And, you know, kind of seeing, like, how, I don't remember his name, but the youngest dwarf, who used his slingshot against, like, the warg and it didn't do much damage. It just like reminded me, because you know it's a slingshot, it doesn't do much damage, but against like less threatening enemy it does more damage. It's just like I can't help but thinking of the movie in gaming terms when I was watching it. And then like I also noticed how like they give dwarves like dwarven aspects, like the ability to run for very long times. That's a dwarven aspect. They have a lot of constitution, so that's why they can survive heavy beatings and heavy attacks against them. So I just like that. I thought that was included very nicely. I felt like the Gollum scene, while a bit long, it happened exactly as I imagined in the books, and I thought that was a nice little touch. Radagast, before I went off topic, I was talking about how they were tying in Sauron and the Necromancer and all that, and so we got like a little side story from him, which I believe we didn't get in The Hobbit, because the whole Necromancer thing was very, 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 very under the radar in The Hobbit, the book. So they played that up, definitely, and we even got like the scene that we never got in the book, which was Radagast experiencing the Necromancer, which I actually enjoyed, because since it was so like under the radar, it's nice to see like, oh, like this is like maybe how it would have happened if it was written out. So that's interesting. And so I like, before I saw the movie, I was eating like at Denny's trying to get all the Hobbit cards, and I looked at Radagast the Brown and I was like, what is that shit on his face? And I watched the movie and it's literally shit. I thought that was disgusting. I didn't think it was cute. I know he was like helping the birds and all that and letting them. That was not cute. That was gross. And so I was kind of just disgusted by Radagast the entire time. And then like watching it the second time, I like decided to calm down. So Radagast is one of those characters that is like, it's a little bit over the top silliness, but watching it the second time, I appreciated him a lot more. Definitely helping the little animals, and it was really nice. So The Hobbit is definitely a movie to watch. I definitely enjoyed it the second time around, so I think it would be a good movie to own, so you can watch it over and over again, or if you have the money to spare, to see it over and over again. So yeah, if you guys have any other questions about The Hobbit, just leave them in the comment section below. And that's my review. I tried not to talk about stuff that I covered in my reaction video, so that's all I have to say for now. So thank you for your time. Bye.